Respect isn't begged, it's revealed. That's the line, my friends. If you remember nothing else from today, let it be this. When you stop chasing, the energy changes fast. Hey folks, imagine this. You're a lighthouse on a dark coast. You don't run up and down the beach waving a flashlight, trying to convince ships to notice you. You stand tall, you shine. Ships that want safe harbor adjust their course. That's you when you choose self-respect, or picture your attention as a rare coin. Every time you spend it on half-effort and mixed signals, the coin loses shine. But when you keep it in the vault for someone who invests back, the value grows. Simple, right? Not always easy. We've been sold a lie. If you try harder, they'll finally see your worth. No. Trying harder for someone who loves the chase more than the connection only teaches them that crumbs keep you around. Another lie, silence is rude. My friends, silence is not rude. Silence is a boundary. Silence says, I will not feed a story that starves me. One more, they're just confused. Confusion that lasts months is not confusion, it's a choice. And your choice can be clearer. You don't need to be harsh. You don't need to be clever. You need to be calm. Calm is the power move. Calm is the door that closes without a slam. Think of yourself like a high-quality restaurant. Not everyone gets a table on demand. There's a standard, there's a dress code, there's a wait list. Why? Because the experience matters. You are that experience. If they want access, they meet the standard. If not, no drama. There are other diners and other nights. Let's add a little fun. You know that moment when your phone dings and you already know it's the "Hey stranger" text? That's like the smoke alarm chirping at 3 a.m. It's not romance, it's a battery warning. You don't write a poem to the smoke alarm. You change the battery or you go back to sleep. See? Simple. And yes, kind of funny, because we've all been there. Here's a truth that might sting a bit, but it will set you free. Attention is currency, and you've been tipping for a service you didn't receive. From today on, the tipping stops. I give clarity and effort. I expect clarity and effort. That sentence will change your life. It turns guessing into knowing and chasing into choosing. It also turns you from background noise into signal. People feel the shift. They always do. Another quote for your pocket. A boundary spoken calmly is louder than any argument. You don't need paragraphs. You need posture. You don't need tests. You need the truth. The text we'll craft in this video will be short, clean, and final. No bait, no guilt, no lol. You'll send it once, and then you'll let silence do what speeches can't. And yes, they'll reread it when they realize you're gone, not because you're playing games, but because you finally stopped playing theirs. Stay with me, my friends. We're about to build the text, the mindset, and the 7-day quiet that protects your peace and resets your pace. And drop today's affirmation in the comments to lock it in. I choose clarity. Number 1. Stop feeding what starves you. Stop feeding what starves you. That's the line, my friends, and it lands hard for a reason. Because deep down, you already know when your energy isn't coming back to you. You know when the conversation only moves when you push it, when the plans only happen if you arrange them, when the warmth arrives exactly when you're about to walk away. That isn't connection, that's control. And today, we're done negotiating with it. Picture this. You're pouring water into a cup with a crack you refuse to see. At first, it looks fine. The surface rises, it glints in the light, it tricks your eye. But slowly, the level drops, and you tell yourself, maybe I didn't pour enough. So you pour again, and again. By evening, you're exhausted, the cup is half full, and your mind says, try harder. That's how people lose months, sometimes years, of peace. The crack was real. The cup was never going to hold what you give. The fix isn't to pour better. The fix is to stop pouring. Now let's bring it closer. The questions that keep spinning in your head. What if they really like me? They're just busy. What if I'm overthinking? What if I just say it more clearly? This time they'll get it? My friends, busy don't cancel effort. Clarity doesn't require translation. If someone can post, scroll, laugh, and plan with others, but your connection lives on, maybe, that's not a scheduling issue. That's a priority issue. And yes, that's heavy, but freedom begins where excuses end. Here's the fear you don't say out loud. If I stop, they will move on and never look back. Read that again. You're afraid that raising your standard will make them disappear. That fear is why you keep your value on clearance. Stoicism offers a different lens. If they vanish when I require clarity, I didn't lose them, I revealed them. Say it with me, revealed, not lost. That shift saves your sanity. Try another metaphor. Imagine your attention is a concert ticket. Front row, sold out, world class. Not many people get that seat. But you've been leaving the door open in the back, letting anyone slip in because they smiled at you. And when security asks for a ticket, you whisper, "They're with me." Folks, no more. You don't need to be rude, you need to be real. Front row is earned by effort, not borrowed by charm. If someone wants the music, they respect the entrance. Quote for your pocket. Your boundary is not a wall, it's a doorway with standards. Standards don't punish, they clarify. Standards say, here is how connection with me works. Presence, consistency, honesty. That's it. Not 10 rules, not petty games. 3 pillars, calmly held. And if someone bumps into those pillars and calls you cold, remember, people who benefited from your lack of boundaries will always prefer the old you. Let's break a few common lies cleanly with love. Lie 1. They're scared of commitment. That's why they keep it casual. Truth, they're comfortable with access, not committed to effort. Those are not the same. Lie 2. If I prove I'm patient, they'll choose me. Truth, patience without reciprocity looks like permission. Lie 3. They just need more reassurance. Truth, reassurance should resolve insecurity, not feed a cycle where you always audition and they always evaluate. If reassurance never lands, it's not a request, it's a lever. Why is this so difficult? Because intermittent attention mimics reward. The sporadic, hey, the perfectly timed, miss your vibe, the sudden warmth when you go quiet. It creates a loop your brain mistakes for potential. This isn't weakness, it's wiring. And once you see the wiring, you can change the circuit. You move from, how do I get more of their attention, to, how do I protect more of mine? That shift is where power returns. Here's a gentle but firm challenge. What if you stopped trying to be unforgettable to them and instead chose to be unshakable for you? Feel that. Unshakable means your mood doesn't rise and fall with their response time. It means your day isn't ruined by a cancellation. It means your self-talk sounds like leadership. I'm here to build truth, not chase noise. The moment you hold that posture, everything in the dynamic changes, not because you threaten, but because you stabilize. Calm is magnetic. Calm says, I know my worth and I respect your freedom. Calm turns you from a participant in their game to the author of your pace. A little fun to lighten the weight. You know when they send, "We should hang soon" for the 15th time. That's like your phone suggesting a software update you never asked for. Remind me tonight? Remind me tomorrow? You keep tapping later. Guess what? It never installs. Why? Because it's not a real update, just a pop-up to make the system look busy. Folks, hit dismiss. Your life runs smoother. So how do we rise from fear to form? Start with a single sentence you will live by for the next 7 days. I match effort, not excuses. That means you won't over-explain, won't send paragraphs, won't rescue dead conversations. You'll be kind, short, and honest. You'll let silence do what speeches can't. And when your mind starts bargaining, maybe one more message so they understand, you'll breathe and remember, clarity never needs convincing. Quote to etch in your notes: a calm no to confusion is a loud yes to peace. If they value you, they will feel the difference and step up with real plans, real presence, real follow-through. If they don't, your quiet will make room for the person who will. Either way, you win because you stop bleeding time into maybe. My friends, you don't need to be perfect. You need to be precise. Stop feeding what starves you. Close the leaky cup. Guard the front row, and when the old habit tugs at your sleeve, remind it that the show has changed. New stage, new standards, same heart, wiser now. We're just getting started, and next we'll craft the exact text that closes the door gently and cleanly, the one they'll reread when your silence stops feeling like a storm and starts looking like sunrise. Stay with me. If this spoke to you, let the world see your shift. Write today's affirmation in the comments to lock it in and show yourself you're serious. I choose clarity. Number 2, how they kept you on the hook and why it worked. Confusion is the cheapest leash. That's the quote, my friends, and it stings because it's true. When the path is blurry, most people don't move forward. They circle. That's how they kept you nearby without ever bringing you close. Not with depth, not with consistency, with just enough spark to keep your hope lit and just enough fog to keep you guessing. Imagine you're at a casino that only pays out in sounds. The lights flash, the machine dings, and you swear you're winning, except your wallet isn't any heavier. That little dopamine chime is intermittent reinforcement, and it's powerful. A random hey, a sudden miss your energy, a convenient we should hang soon, right when you've gone quiet. Those are the slot machine dings. It's not intimacy. It's noise engineered to feel like it means something. You didn't fall for a person so much as a pattern. Attention, withdrawal, attention, withdrawal. That loop trains you to chase the next maybe. And maybe is the most expensive word you'll ever believe. Let's name the questions that sneak in at 2 a.m. What if they're just overwhelmed? What if I give it one more week? What if I explain my feelings better? My friends, overwhelmed people still act with intention toward what matters. One more week rarely changes a value system. And explanations don't turn indifference into desire. If clarity doesn't appear after clear communication, you're not waiting on timing. You're waiting on a reversal of truth. That's a hard pill, but it frees you. Here's the lie you were fed. Don't be so intense. Let it flow. Translation: keep the window open so I can step in when I'm bored and step out when I'm not. Flow without form is a river that floods your house. Love needs banks, shared expectations, simple agreements, real plans that become real memories. When flow means you accept cancellations, delays, and breadcrumb affection, you're not being easygoing, you're being made easy to manage. And you deserve better than management. You deserve partnership. Another metaphor for the soul: picture your heart like a high-performance engine. It's designed for long roads and honest mileage, but you've been revving it in neutral because the other driver keeps saying, soon. You burn fuel, hear a nice roar, and go nowhere. That roaring feeling tricks you into believing progress is happening. Then you look up and realize the scenery hasn't changed in months. The fix is not a louder engine. The fix is to choose a road that actually moves. Why do smart, strong people get caught here? Because you're loyal, because you believe good effort deserves good outcomes, because you were taught that patience proves love. But patience without reciprocity is not noble. It's numbing. And loyalty has to be to the truth first, not to a fantasy you keep editing to survive disappointment. You were not foolish, you were faithful. Now it's time to be faithful to yourself. A line to carry with you. Interest is visible. Effort is measurable. Interest shows in their eyes and their voice. Effort shows in their calendar and their consistency. If they show you interest but hide from effort, they're enjoying the atmosphere you create without choosing the relationship you deserve. That's not wicked. It's human, but it's not for you to fix. Let's break the cycle like adults. Step 1. Refuse the breadcrumb economy. When the "Hey stranger" text pops up, you don't need to punish or perform. You need to tell the truth with calm. I move with plans, not pings. That sentence alone will reveal who they are. If they step up with a day, a time, a place, and then they show, you'll see it. If they drift into soon again, you won't. Either way, the fog lifts. Step 2. Remove the softeners. No lol, no winky faces to make your boundary palatable, no 500-word essays proving your kindness. Your posture is the message. You're not angry. You're not needy. You're simply done financing what does not invest back. Quote it if you like. Attention is currency. I will spend where there's return. Step 3. Respect your own silence. After you set the standard, the most dangerous temptation is to negotiate against yourself because the quiet is uncomfortable. That's the moment the old program boots up. Maybe I should check in so they know I'm not mad. My friends, your boundary isn't a tantrum, it's a temperature. You're not icing them out. You're warming your life by closing a drafty door. What about fear? If I stop engaging, what if they never come back? Then you didn't lose them. You discovered them. And discovery is a gift. The right people don't disappear when you ask for clarity. They appear. They may not be perfect, but they'll be present. They'll offer specifics, not vibes. They'll choose the road with you and put their foot on the gas. That's what adults do when they're ready. Let's put a little humor on it, because laughter helps the lesson stick. You know the "we should hang" text with no date is the romantic equivalent of "let's catch up soon" in the office hallway. Translation: absolutely nothing is scheduled. You don't put it on your calendar because it's a social placebo. Smile, be kind, and keep walking. Your peace has places to be. So how did they keep you on the hook? By lending you just enough dreams to keep you sleeping. How do you wake up? By deciding dreams must come with daylight. Real plans, real effort, real presence. And if that doesn't show up, your dignity does. You get to walk not to punish, but to protect the one life you have. Close your eyes for 10 seconds and breathe this in. You're allowed to require what you give. You're allowed to match energy, not excuses. You're allowed to end a chapter without making anyone the villain. You are not hard to love. You are hard to manipulate once you know your value. That's the shift. That's freedom. Stay with me, because next we'll carve the exact message that ends the guessing with respect and finality. The text they'll reread when your silence stops feeling like a storm and starts looking like sunrise. Number 3. Detachment isn't anger, it's alignment. Calm is not cold, it's calibrated. Let that sit, my friends. Detachment isn't the slam of a door, it's the steady hand that finally sets the door on its proper hinges. People confuse your silence with bitterness because they were trained to read chaos as love and noise as proof. But detachment, in its healthiest form, is simply you matching distance to effort and access to respect. You're not punishing them, you're protecting you. Imagine a surgeon walking into the operating room, shaking with emotion. Would you trust the cut? Of course not. Precision requires steadiness. The same is true in relationships. If your hands are shaking with fear, fear of losing them, fear of being alone, fear of being misunderstood, you will cut where you should suture and cling where you should clean. Detachment is the scrub-in. It's the deep breath before the decision. It gives you a stable grip so you can save what's alive and remove what's infected. Another image, think of yourself as a lighthouse in heavy fog. A lighthouse doesn't blare sirens and sprint down the shore begging ships to notice. It holds position and shines. Ships that want safe harbor adjust their course. Ships that want thrill chase storms. Detachment is the moment you stop jumping in the water to prove you care. You stand, you shine. You let their choices reveal their destination. If they're built for you, they'll steer toward clarity. If not, your light remains, unflickering, unbothered, unlost. Here's the lie that kept you tangled. If you pull back, they'll think you're mad. No, if you pull back, the dynamic will finally reflect the truth. They'll feel the absence of your overcompensation. They'll meet your standard or they won't. And your life won't run on their interpretation. It will run on your intention. You're not performing detachment to make a point. You're practicing alignment to keep your peace. Why is this hard? Because your nervous system equates silence with danger. Maybe you grew up thinking intensity equals intimacy, arguments equal attention, and constant drama equals proof that you matter. So when you stop reacting, it feels like death, a little funeral for the old you who hustled for a love that should have been mutual. Grieve that version with tenderness. They kept you alive when you didn't know better. Then bury the hustle and resurrect the standard. I don't audition for roles I didn't write. Quote to pocket. I am not withdrawing love. I am withdrawing from what doesn't love me back. That's the difference. Anger swings. Alignment centers. Anger wants them to feel it. Alignment wants you to heal it. Anger looks outward for reaction. Alignment looks inward for regulation. When you detach, you stop feeding the loop. No more double texts, no more essays, no more teaching grown people how not to minimize you. You switch from tutor to curator. You curate your time, your attention, your body, your future. Access becomes membership, not a public park. Let's talk about posture. Detachment is not the icy shoulder, the petty story post, or the strategic delay to spark jealousy. That's still a performance, still hooked, still dancing, still orbiting the same sun. True detachment is boring to outsiders because it's quiet. Fewer words, clearer plans, clean exits. You don't torch bridges, you stop driving to dead ends. You don't slam the phone, you put it face down and pick up your life. The power isn't in what they see, the power is in what you no longer need them to see. Consider a garden. Undetached love will water weeds out of guilt and starve roses out of habit. Detachment studies the labels. This grows me, this chokes me. Then you prune, not because you hate the vine, but because you love the harvest. Some people are vines. They aren't evil. They're just climbing anything that gives them height. Your boundary is the trellis. With it, the right plant flourishes. Without it, everything tangles and wilts. What if they call me selfish? Let them name you while you name your future. Self-care looks like selfishness to those who benefit from your self-neglect. You used to lower your volume so others could keep their comfort. Alignment reverses that math. Your life speaks at full voice. Here is what I'm available for: clarity, consistency, and care. Everything else I release. The people meant for you will not demand discount versions to stay. A little humor to ease the lesson. You know that we should hang sometime message with no date. Treat it like the umbrella you keep in your car. Nice to have, rarely opened, never the reason you drive. If real rain comes, an actual plan, you'll use it. If not, the sky was just showing off. Now the practice. Detachment done well follows 3 quiet moves. First, you shorten your sentences. No more dissertations on why you deserve respect. Your standard is the statement, not the debate. Second, you lengthen your pauses. You let messages sit. You let patterns expose themselves. Time is a truth serum. Third, you widen your life. Friends, gym, craft, faith, work. Your world grows until a single thread can't strangle it. When your life is larger, their reactions get smaller. You might ask, but what if they really are my person and I'm pushing them away? Alignment never pushes away the person who's aligned. It filters out the person who needs your self-betrayal to feel secure. If they are truly yours, your clarity will feel like relief, not rejection. They'll know where to stand with you because you finally know where you stand with yourself. Here's your anchor line. I match effort, not emotion. Their mood swings no longer yank your wheel. Their good morning doesn't erase last night's cancellation. Their flirty spark doesn't outrun their steady absence. You move by measure, not by moment. That's not cold, that's calibrated. We're going to use this detachment to power the text, the one they'll reread when the silence stops feeling like punishment and starts looking like peace. It will be short, dignified, and final if it needs to be. And if alignment brings them back with real effort, you'll recognize it because you're no longer hungry for crumbs. Stay with me, folks. Lock today's shift in the comments with the affirmation, I choose alignment. Write it, show yourself, and show the world around you that your peace now has a spine. Number 4. The anatomy of a text. They'll reread. Clarity is kind and unforgettable. Put that in your pocket, my friends, because the text they'll reread is not savage, poetic, or performative. It's clean. It doesn't spike adrenaline. It settles it. It isn't a speech. It's a door. You're not trying to sting them. You're sealing the room where confusion used to sleep. The power of this message sits in 3 places. It states reality, it names your value, and it ends without begging. That's why it echoes. That's why they scroll back to it at midnight when the noise dies and truth gets loud. Picture a well-made blade, no jagged edge, no rust, no wobble, just a straight, polished line that cuts through rope with one motion. That's what your text should feel like. Too many words and you fray the edge. Too much emotion and you swing at air. You want a message that a future version of you will be proud to reread, calm, dignified, adult. Something their friends could see and say, okay, I get it. Because you're not writing to win an argument, you're writing to end a pattern. You might feel the urge to add color, history, and proof. Remember last Friday when you stop. Proof is a courtroom move, and you're not suing, you're stepping. A clean step requires a clean line. Try this image. Imagine drawing a boundary in wet cement. If you keep retracing it, you smudge it. If you press once, confidently it sets. Your text is that press. One impression, then hands off. Here's a quote that will keep you honest. Short is strong when the truth is long. The truth of what you've tolerated is already a novel. Your sentence doesn't have to be. You are compressing months of hesitation into one moment of leadership. Leadership sounds like this. We're not on the same page. I value clarity and effort. That's what I give. If that's not you, no worries. Take care it's not chilly, it's precise. And precision reads as self-respect. Why does this land so deeply? Because ambiguity was the fuel of the game. They could float on soon, surf on, let's see, and hide behind, I'm complicated. Your text drains the fog. It removes the escape hatches. No accusations to argue with, no question marks to dance around, no emotional handles to grab. Just a decision stated as a value. A decision written in quiet ink. Think about the moment they reread it. The room is dim. Their playlist is on. The thread is a timeline of you trying, you hoping, you holding space. Then this message. It's the first time you didn't negotiate against yourself. It's the first time you didn't add LOLs as bubbles wrap around your boundaries. It's the first time your tone matched your truth, and the mind recognizes the shift the way a body recognizes clean oxygen. That's why they come back to it. Not always to fix it, sometimes just to feel the weight of a door that finally closes. There's a lie we need to break. If it's short, it's cold. No. Shorts can be sacred. Consider a vow. I do. 2 words and an entire life changes. Consider a surgeon. We're done. 2 words and someone gets to live. Consider your message. We're misaligned. 2 words and your peace starts breathing again. Cold is contempt. This is clarity. Clarity is warm to the person who plans to respect it and hot to the person who plans to avoid it. Either way, it's honest. Another metaphor to anchor the feeling. You're returning a library book you kept renewing out of habit. You wanted to finish it, you told yourself you would, but every time you opened it, the words slid off the page. No drama at the desk, no speech about the author, just a clean handover. I'm done. The librarian smiles, scans the code, and the world goes on. That's your text. Scan, release, move. You might worry, will they think I'm harsh? What they think is their weather. Your message is your climate. You are not sending it to punish, you're sending it to preserve. And here's the quiet grace inside the wording. No worries. That phrase signals maturity. It doesn't weaponize silence. It frees both of you from endless loops. Yes, some will test your line after you send it, little pings to see if your spine is paper or oak. Remember the rule, a complete message needs no sequel. If they can meet you with clarity, they will respond with specifics and show up with consistency. If they can't, your silence is not a threat, it's an answer. Let's add a little humor because it helps the medicine go down. Think of your old texting style as a cooking show with too many ingredients. Garlic, sugar, 7 sauces, 3 apologies, 2 emojis, and a ha-ha for garnish. Your new dish is salt, heat, and timing. That's it, and guess what? It tastes like respect. Here's a final line to tattoo on your mindset before you send. I don't explain my worth. I embody it. When you hit send from that place, the message carries a posture the eyes can't see, but the heart feels. Posture is the secret seasoning. You breathe, you send, you set your phone down, and you return to a life that's growing wider than this thread. That's how the text becomes more than a text. It becomes a pivot. Stay with me. We're about to craft variations for the exact scenarios you face, so you can choose the cleanest line for your situation and hold your 7-day quiet without flinching. If this section opened your eyes, press like and subscribe so more folks find the same calm, and lock it in below with today's affirmation. I choose clarity. Write it in the comments. Show them, show yourself, show the world around you. Your peace now has a voice. Number 5. The text, word for word. Pipelines, variations for your situation. Clarity ends the game that confusion keeps alive. Keep that close, my friends. This is where we stop dancing around the truth and give you the exact words, short, steady, and grown. The goal isn't to sting them, the goal is to steady you. Think of this message like a well-cut key. Clean grooves, no burrs, slides in once, turns once, opens or closes the door without scratching the lock. That's the energy we're sending. Here is the core text, word for word. You can copy it as is, breathe, and press send when you're ready. We're not on the same page. I value clarity and effort. That's what I give. If that's not you, no worries. Take care. That's it. No emojis. Not nervous. LOL. No, hope you're good to soften your backbone. The power here is the posture. Calm, respectful, final if it needs to be. You're not pushing them away. You're pulling yourself back into alignment. Let's sit with why this works. For weeks or months, the dynamic has been fueled by fog. Soon, maybe, let's see. Your message drains the mist. You're not accusing, you're choosing. You're not litigating the past, you're calibrating the future. That's why it lands like a bell in a quiet room. It rings with adulthood. It tells them you've stepped out of their wave and onto your shore. If your situation is cancellations and pings instead of plans, use this variation. I move with plans, not pings. I value clarity and effort. If that's not where you are, all good. Take care, read it again. It names the pattern without drama and returns you to your pace. The person meant for you will respond with a day, a time, and a place. Everyone else will send more smoke. You will not chase smoke. If your situation is hot attention and zero depth, try, I'm available for real connection, not check-ins. I value clarity and effort. If that's not you, no worries. Take care. That single sentence turns the spotlight from vibes to values. It also protects your heart from becoming a waiting room where no one ever books the appointment. If they reappear after ignoring you and you feel your old habit reaching for the rope, breathe and send, I don't loop old patterns. I value clarity and effort. If that's your pace, say so. If not, wishing you well, this one gives them a clear doorway and names the price of admission. Consistent effort. No coupons. No backstage passes. If you need the smallest blade possible, perhaps because words get you in trouble, this is enough. We're misaligned. I choose clarity and effort. Wishing you well, 9 words and a benediction. Short can be sacred. It is not cold to finish a chapter with a period. Let's add one for those who tried to go with the flow until it drowned them. I tried flow without form. I'm choosing clarity and effort now. If that's not you, take care. This one acknowledges your growth without blaming them. It says, I'm the author of my pace, and invites them to rise or release. Maybe your situation is beautiful messages but empty calendars. Here's a clean line. The words are nice. The calendar decides, I value clarity and effort. If that's not you, no worries, people can charm with language. Your life changes when calendars move. Let your text honor that truth. A quick metaphor to keep your courage steady. Imagine your message is a lighthouse's steady beam. It doesn't chase ships, it announces the shore. Ships designed for you will adjust. Ships designed for storms will pass. Your job is not to sprint after metal in the dark. Your job is to stand, shine, and let the sea do the sorting. You might feel the urge to explain. You'll want to add, I'm not mad, or I've just been busy too, or it's not your fault. Notice the urge and let it pass. Explanation invites negotiation. Negotiation invites delay. Delay invites the same old ache. Your sentence is already kind. It gives them dignity and gives you daylight. Send it once, then let silence do what speeches can't. What happens after you press send? The old you will itch, the fingers will twitch, the mind will bargain. This is where you remember, you're not using the text to get a reaction, you're using it to get your life back. If they respond with specifics and show up with consistency, you'll see it. If they send another soon, your message stands as your final word. You don't need a sequel to a complete sentence. If humor helps you breathe, try this image. Old you was a 24/7 diner, open late, kitchen always on, coffee always pouring, no worries, drop in. New you is a well-run restaurant, clear hours, a menu with standards, reservations honored. Not everyone will eat here, and that's the point. The ones who do will actually taste what you offer. Carry this quote as you choose your line. I don't explain my worth, I embody it. Your text is a mirror of that embodiment. It's the moment your tone matches your truth. It's the first page of a chapter where your heart is not a waiting room, but a home with a door that opens to people who knock with both hands. Stay with me. Next, we build the 7-day quiet protocol that protects your peace after you send. How to hold the line without flinching. How to keep your phone from becoming your warden. And how to widen your life so the thread shrinks to its proper size. And lock it in below with today's affirmation. Type it in the comments to show them, show yourself, and show the world around you. I choose clarity. Number 6. The 7-day quiet protocol. Silence is not a weapon, it's wisdom. Hold that, my friends. The moment you send the text, the real work begins. Not in their phone, not in their head, inside yours. Quiet is where you meet the part of you that used to chase, explain, and negotiate against your own standard. These 7 days are not about punishing them. They're about proving to yourself that your peace can stand without external permission. Think of it like setting fresh concrete. If you poke it every hour, you leave fingerprints. If you let it cure, it becomes a foundation. Day 1 is tremor day. Your fingers itch, your mind writes imaginary replies, and your nervous system begs for the tiny hit of seen or typing. This is withdrawal from uncertainty, not from love. Picture a lighthouse after a storm. The rocks are still wet, the wind still loud, but the beam stays steady. That's you. Put the phone in another room for blocks of time. Move your body. Drink water. Replace the loop with action. Every time you resist checking, you lay one more brick under your self-respect. Day 2 is the audit. You'll feel old stories knock. Maybe I was harsh. What if they needed me? What if they're testing if I care? Folks, tests belong in classrooms, not in your heart. Write one page that starts with, when I accepted less than clarity, I felt. Put it on paper so it leaves your chest. Then write, when I demanded clarity, I felt. That contrast is your compass. Keep it close. Day 3 is about muscle memory. You used to sprint to your phone when it buzzed. Now you choose pace. Imagine you're in a Michelin-level kitchen. Orders come in. You don't panic. You fire what matters. You 86 what doesn't. And the door stays swinging because the system works. Build a system today. Blocks for work, blocks for training, blocks for calling a friend who speaks truth. Boredom is the doorway where old habits sneak back. Fill the doorway with purpose. Day 4 is the mirror. Stand in front of it and say, I match effort, not emotion. Say it out loud. Look yourself in the eye. Your nervous system listens to your voice. If tears come, let them. You're grieving a pattern, not a person. The pattern promised magic and delivered maybe. The grief is real because your hope was real. Grieve, then breathe, then choose again. Day 5 is inventory. Open your calendar, not your messages. Ask, what earns access to me? Write it. What earns a plan? Write it. What earns intimacy? Write it. You are not becoming rigid, you're becoming clear. Clarity feels like relief to aligned people and like resistance to anyone who fed on your confusion. Both reactions teach you something priceless. Day 6 is exposure training. You might see their name pop up. Hey, you good? Been thinking of you. Don't panic. Imagine a wave rolling toward you. If you brace with fear, it knocks you over. If you plant your feet, bend your knees and let it break, you're still standing. Read their words once. Ask one simple question. Do these words come with a plan, a day, a place? If not, the wave is foam, pretty, short-lived and gone with the next tide. You don't need to answer foam. You're the shore. Day 7 is the seal. You made it. The urge is smaller. The world feels bigger. You realize the silence wasn't empty. It was full of you. This is where you decide, with both feet on the ground, what happens next if they return with real effort, or if they drift away with more soon. If they come back with clarity, you'll see specificity and consistency. If they don't, your message stands as your last word. Either way, you aren't waiting. You're living. Let me hand you a metaphor that will carry you long after this week. You are a library, not a loudspeaker. A loudspeaker begs for attention, blasts noise into every open ear, and burns out fast. A library holds knowledge, sets hours, keeps quiet, and the people who want wisdom come with intention. During these 7 days, you stop blaring into the wind and become a place where intention is required. That's not ego, that's alignment. You'll also battle the oldest lie. If I don't respond, they'll forget me. People forget what is loud and aimless. They remember what is quiet and exact. The text you sent was exact. Your quiet is not absence. It is presence without performance. When they scroll back, they won't reread paragraphs of emotion. They'll reread a line of truth. That's why the message lingers. That's why you don't need a sequel. A little humor, because it helps. Think of your phone as a toddler tugging at your sleeve every 5 minutes. Look, 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 you're an adult now. I see you. Not right now. Then you keep stirring your life's soup. Career, health, craft, faith, friendships. You season your days with things that actually feed you. By the end of the week, the soup tastes like you again. If fear still whispers, answer it with this. Alignment never loses the right person. The right person isn't allergic to boundaries. The right person doesn't need your self-betrayal to feel secure. The right person reads your quiet as calm, not as cruelty, and meets you where you stand. And if it isn't them, your silence made room for the one who can. So here's your closer for the week and the opener for your life. You are done financing what won't invest back. You are done explaining what your standard already made clear. You are done living on maybe. You stand, you shine, you let the sea do the sorting, and you live wide enough that a single thread can't strangle your day. If this chapter shifted something inside you, show it. Write today's affirmation in the comments to lock it in and to show them, show yourself, show the world around you. I hold the line. If this helped, press like, subscribe, and share it with one person who needs their peace back. Stay with me. We've got more to build, more to heal, and more to claim. Your clarity has a spine now. Let's use it.